Hi, everybody. I'm Betsy McLoughlin, and I'm here today with Marilyn Bradford, the creator and founder of Right Recovery for You. And Marilyn and I were recently having an amazing conversation about what what a lot of people's conception is of right recovery and addiction. And I would love to get your take on how we can kind of clear up some of the misconceptions out there.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Betsy. I'm still stunned by how, particularly people who've been in access consciousness for a long time, no clue, not a clue. And it's been a specialty that's been around for 15 or 16 years, actually 17.
Mm.
So what's going on here? And I've asked a lot of questions about it. One of them is people tend to put addiction in a box and addiction and recovery in a box. It has nothing to do with me. Why would I even be interested in it?
Mm.
And the other thing that people do is they only conceive of it in terms of this reality. Oh, that's the alcoholic and drug addict, and they go to AA and NA, and maybe they have some food issues, but that has nothing to do with me or mental health or
Mm.
anything like that. And I'm just like, mouth agape. The truth is, addiction is an energy that's looking for a target. And it comes about because people are overwhelmed with their awarenesses. They've been made wrong for being different. They're confused. They don't have the tools and the accurate information to make the changes they'd like to make.
Yeah.
So what do? So they find something, um, working 80 hours a week, being the best teacher or mom or dad, um, entering contest after contest after contest,
Mhm.
making problems and trauma drama out of everything. They find, and it can be food or alcohol or drugs, but that is not the primary number of people who are in addiction. That's a fairly small number.
Yeah.
It's really incredible.
It really is. And when I started diving into learning more about it, I realized that I had blinders on,
Uh-huh.
where I was like, oh yeah, and I had alcoholic father, so grew up with it, and I'm like, yeah, been there, done that. I wore the t-shirt and then realized that it's way more than I had dismissed and thought that I knew. And
Yeah.
so I'm wondering, like, how many other people have that same thing? They're like, oh, yeah, that's not for me. And they just kind of, push it to the side and they move on. And where you're just talking about, there are actually so many different types of addictions that you can
Yes.
have. And it's for me, I was like, oh my gosh, I actually have this one and this one. And you start laughing about it, right? And where very easily you could move over to something else. So
Yes.
yeah, so from that, like, how do people negotiate that? What do they do? Where do they go?
Well, the first thing is to recognize that almost everyone has an addiction to something. For a lot of creative people, a lot of what we call humanoids in access consciousness, it's an addiction to wrongness of self and to this reality, which is a whole set of shoulds, obligations, do's, lies, judgments. And as long as you're operating under that, you can't actually be you.
Mm.
You can't actually choose beyond it. And that's another thing is that people think recovery, oh yeah, well, he'll stop drinking and then he's in recovery. That drives me crazy too,
Mhm.
because recovery is not about stopping something. It's not about fighting with your addiction or trying to overcome it. Gary said something years ago that just blew my mind. He said, don't fight against the limitation, allow it to bypass you. I was like, wow, then you begin to have choice. And real recovery is
Wow.
about you coming into the truth of who you are and creating from that space, from space.
Wow.
And that is so much greater than addiction and recovery as it's termed in this reality.
Mm.
And I see work with people all the time where it's like, you don't get how you, and I don't say this, but I'm like, wow, they don't get how they're lived. They think they have choice. They think they're choosing. And then why didn't it work?
Right.
You've never dealt with your addiction to being perfect or
Yeah.
addiction to
Hmm.
fixing other people.
Yeah.
Because the big five, that can be addiction too. So you have
Yeah.
to really kind of move
Wow.
around it, go
Yeah.
for the covert
Wow.
approach. And I was working with someone yesterday who's been in Access a long time. And I realized, and she's a facilitator, she never even bothered to find out anything about right recovery. And that is typical for a lot of people. It's like, oh, well, why would I need to find out about that?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's still stunning to me, but that's probably because I've been working with it for so long.
Right. Well, and that's where I was saying, it's kind of that dismissive, like, oh yeah, that doesn't apply to me. Next, move on. And,
Yeah,
when you actually go under the surface, you realize, oh my gosh, there are so many different things here
yeah,
that it's not so black and white. And there are a lot of different shades of gray,
yes.
right?
Well, and when we
All
were
that.
talking about that, I realized so many people are addicted to avoiding
Uh,
and
wow.
separating and cutting out anything. They just make a choice, a decision, a conclusion,
Wow.
and we don't get how addiction to avoiding and conclusion disrupts our lives.
Wow. That's like a mic drop right there.
Right.
Oh my gosh, okay, guilty as charged, Your
Oh,
Honor.
I'm still working on stuff.
Wow. Well, Marilyn, that, like I said, that's an amazing mic drop. And, to wrap up this quick conversation today, if anybody is wondering, okay, well, you've kind of planted a bunch of seeds in my world, and now what in the world do I do with this? I wonder if I have any of these things that were talked about today. What would you say for them?
I would say check out the website, MarilynBradford.com, because there's lots of free stuff and information and videos and energy polls and things. And also I wrote a book, Right Recovery for You, which is easy to read. And it's one of those books, it's not one of those heavy, you can open it anywhere and you
Yeah.
can find some helpful information there. It's in English, Spanish, French, and German currently.
Nice.
Um, and Italian. So I recommend those things. And
Love it.
be kind to yourself. This is not information. This is not widely known. In fact, it's widely avoided.
That addiction you were just talking about.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Marilyn. And also, Marilyn does have a YouTube channel and SoundCloud, and there's just lots of great information out there. And I know you also have private sessions and classes and all kinds of things. So if this has you curious at all, go check out her website. It's a great place to start. Thanks,
Thank you,
everybody.
Betsy. Bye.
Bye.